Yeah.
They really screwed up. They really screwed up. I mean, they're a bad organization. That's what bad organizations do. They
Well,
got a terrible owner.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers meeting with the Steelers is big because that could give him the end of his career to make it respectable.
He's going to have a good coach.
Yep.
He's going to have good things, good players around him. He won't have to go out there and be the star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up. What's happening, chat? We're here today. We got Wi-Fi. We got everything good. March Madness live on YouTube. Magnum's in today for Bobby. I'm excited about that. Bobby's going to Dead and Company tonight, so he's getting a much-deserved day off. And it's Tom Flores' 88th birthday today. Happy birthday, Coach Flores.
The Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the
JT when
Brick Show,
break time.
Broadcasting live from
Usually
the
break at 25.
Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes it off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Over to the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT with you as we begin a day on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio, and all over the globe on the Raiders mobile app and streaming live on YouTube, where you can see the show. JT the Brick YT is a free subscription. Please go in there. It's free, and you can watch what we're doing here. Today's going to be kind of a wide open show today. I was telling Magnum, who's in for Bobby today, Bobby's going to Dead and Company tonight. Bobby works really, really hard, like 6-7 days a week. He's got a buddy in town, so he's going to go to the show, so he gets a day off. I would have took the day off today for March Madness with my friends in town, but I'm off all next week to go on the Raiders cruise. So I will be on the Mexican Riviera. I didn't know they called it that, but they do. Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta for 7 nights. Ooh, is that too long for a cruise? 7 nights with 15 Raider alumni and a total of 400 Raider fans. That's good news. The better news is there are 4,000 people on the boat, the Norwegian Bliss. So there'll be some good pockets to disappear, have a cigar with Lincoln Kennedy, have some nice excursions and do all that. And then every day, for 2 hours a day, I'll work with both groups of alumni. We'll do chalk talks, history of the Raiders, that type of stuff that I like to do. We'll do that in some really cool venues on the ship, and then I'll come back. My in-laws are in town. They're holding down the fort with the dog. And, today I want it to be a loose show today because I got all this March Madness going on. So most people are in a casino or trying to get into a casino. We represent a lot of casinos on the show, and I'm going to give them all a lot of love today. I was driving in today, and I told one of my buddies, if you don't have this thing planned, Magnum, if you don't have this planned a month in advance, where you want to be at March Madness, it's over. At one of the local casinos where I live, near Summerlin, they're charging $150 to sit at the sports book. That never happened before. No, it's whoever arrived first, you get to sit. If you wanted a booth, you got to pay for the booth, but you'd have a buy. You'd buy beverages and food to set off the cost. But now they don't even want you in these casinos unless you're paying $100 or $50 just to find a place to sit.
Well, I hope it's the one that I own stock in, and I hope that they're doing well.
Yeah.
But that's wild. Like I've never heard that.
Yeah, you can't today say, hey, I'm going to go down. Again, we have friends at Resorts World, friends at Circa, friends at M. Yeah, you can. We encourage everybody to go and watch the games. But if you didn't have this thing dialed in a month ago, you're out of luck. You're just going to stand in the corner of a sports book. And it's the Wild West out here. And another big topic that we've been talking about on this show, because I love Vegas, love it. They're starting to gouge, man. They're starting to get out of control. They're starting to do what we said they shouldn't do. They're taking the customer. They have this new thing now called surge pricing, where if they have big events, they raise the price of some of these establishments, man. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea at all. Yes, it's a Modelo Friday. I'll have my bucket of Modelos later on today. I'll have several Modelos on the Raider cruise leaving out of the port of L.A. on Sunday. So we're going to head out there tomorrow and kick that off there. So it's Tom Flores' birthday today. That's my topic. Tom Flores is 88 years old. How much do we all love Tom Flores? I mean, are you kidding me? Tom Flores, 88 today, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Raiders, everybody's putting out social media on it. I would love to take a few calls today on what Tom Flores means to you. I think he would appreciate it. His wife, Barbara, they're out in the desert, in Palm Desert, and he's with us at 88 years old. We should celebrate Tom Flores today. Isn't that a good idea? So for everybody who's in my chat and everybody who's listening, the number is 702-365-9200. I'd like it to hear from a couple of Raider fans today. Put together a phone call because God knows you haven't called me once on this March Madness, which is kind of shocking. I think you all love Tom Flores, and maybe you met Tom Flores. Maybe the impact he had on your life as a Raider fan and what he means to you. He's really important. Pete Carroll's our new head coach. Pete Carroll's 73. Going to be 74 this year. Tom Flores is 88. I tweeted out a photo. One of the proudest accomplishments of my life was we had the AFL championship team, and they came back, and I was on the field, the 50-yard line at Oakland Coliseum. There was over 50,000 fans, one of the largest crowds I've ever been in front of with a microphone, and Coach Flores stood right next to me. I tweeted out that picture, and Tom Flores spoke to the crowd, the 11 angry men. It was just a special day. Also, I got a phone call from Tom Flores when he got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It was one of the most important phone calls I ever took because he called me at home and asked me to MC his party in Canton, Ohio, which I was able to do. And it was the first ever party in Canton at the Hall of Fame in their ballroom. They never had a ballroom before. So the year Coach Flores got in, they had so much respect for him. Instead of renting out a golf course or doing something, they gave Coach Flores the ballroom inside the Hall of Fame. And that was pretty interesting. And I don't want to make this a downer, but I was so upset at the Pro Football Hall of Fame leading into that because Coach Flores was in a wheelchair. And he got out of his wheelchair to give a speech. And he was done. He got back in his wheelchair. And they made him wait his entire adult life to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think he was 82. I couldn't believe it. He should have got into the Hall of Fame when he was 62. He should have been wearing a gold jacket his whole entire 60s, 70s before he got in his 80s, and they finally got around to inducting him. And it was a beautiful event. Marcus Allen gave one of the best speeches I've ever heard in my life. Marcus grabbed the microphone. He was brought to tears, and he talked about how Coach Flores let him be himself. Didn't try to outcoach him, figure it out. He said, Marcus, you be Marcus. You do what you do. And the way Marcus shared that story, it was fabulous. It really was. So I love Tom Flores, man. I don't say that enough about men and other people in my life, my parents and my kids. I love Tom Flores. He's had a tremendous impact on my life. The times traveling with him and then all the years he was on the broadcast for us. And he was the analyst on the radio broadcast. I mean, those were big years, being on the sideline and getting a chance to talk to Tom Flores. Wow. So happy birthday, Coach Flores. If you'd like to wish him a happy birthday, give us a call at 702-365-9200 here as we open up the show. I want to thank the team at Virgin. Last night I went to the Virgin party that they had at Virgin Hotels, Cliff Atkinson. A couple of my buddies went up there, and we watched 2-3 hours of March Madness in their upstairs VIP area where they had us and a whole bunch of their, players and their gamblers who were there. It was a really fun night watching the games, and I'll keep you up to date on the scores and the breaking news if there's an upset and all that. Golden Knights won last night. Magnum and I will talk about that with Vince Sapienza coming up in a little bit. Johnny Katz will join us, the entertainment writer here in town who kind of took over for Norm Clark. And Norm Clark died yesterday at the age of 82, and we're spending the rest of this show talking about Norm, Coach Flores, and Johnny Katz will come on and talk about the legacy of Norm, who's one of the most important people in Vegas history covering media, and he passed away, and a lot of people in town are affected by that. My podcast partner, Looney, will join us a little bit later on the show. He laughed. He goes, am I filler today? I'm kind of. It's Friday. I got my feet up. I need a couple of guests. He wants to come on. We'll talk about the Dodgers' quick start and what's happening with the Dodgers and LeBron and Luka in LA. And can the Lakers really make a run? Can the Lakers with old aging LeBron James make a run to the NBA title? I don't think so. I think the teams that are in front of them are flawed because they're young. Oklahoma City, Memphis, those type of teams. I think the Lakers can win because they have more experience. But that's going to be a long road for LeBron to get to the NBA Finals. And then the big news today, the biggest story in sports is Aaron Rodgers right now is at the Steelers headquarters. He is meeting with the Steelers today. I don't think the Steelers would have him in the building if they weren't going to offer him a deal. So visiting the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers today, and I don't know how long it's going to take this deal to get done, but Aaron Rodgers better be careful here. He likes to go on those sabbaticals, ayahuasca, walk around Costa Rica, getting inside his own head. Well, the Steelers aren't going to play that game. Steelers aren't going to allow that. Steelers aren't going to say, you can come back in a month and let us know. So I think Rodgers got something left. I really do. I wish he was the quarterback of the Raiders 2 years ago. 2 years ago, before he went to the Jets, I banged this table and said, get him to the Raiders. I thought it would have been a great fit. That was 2 years ago. Now the Raiders have Geno. We're good with that. We'll move on from that. But Aaron Rodgers, this would be the way that he should go out. You go out with a franchise that has won 6 championships, a great organization, an historic organization. You go out that way because he would look like he was going to follow the path of Brett Favre and go from the Packers to the Jets, the Vikings. And that just didn't look good for Favre. And I didn't think it looked good for Rodgers. And he tried with the Jets, with Devontae, but that was a dumpster fire. But as I was talking to Magnum about it, he's a Jet fan. He looked good, right? Magnum, he looked pretty good in the second half of that year. I thought he wasn't the problem with the Jets the second half, right?
No, the Jets are the problem with
Right.
the Jets. I mean, they're a bad organization, and it's not a shock that Aaron Rodgers went there and struggled. Well, first year obviously is a throwaway, but it's a mess.
Yeah.
You trade for Aaron Rodgers, and then you obviously let him go after really only one season of having him. You fire your coach, then you trade for Devontae, and then you get rid of the GM.
Yeah, all that.
There was no chance. That's an organization. I wish my father had Giant season tickets instead of Jet season tickets, so I could at least have had some good years of memories. But it was never going to work.
So Aaron Rodgers could end up with the Steelers. I'm not saying today, but if they could have a handshake agreement and agree to terms on that, I think that would be a pretty good deal. I think that makes sense for Aaron Rodgers. We're in the AFC with the Raider Nation. That would be another elite quarterback. And he's on the back end of he's not in his prime anymore. Of course he's not. Brady wasn't, and he won a Super Bowl. Brady won a Super Bowl at 43. He wasn't in his prime, and he won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers can take the Steelers with DK Metcalf. He could take them pretty far. And that's enough. That could be the difference between a wild card. Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, because I think Cincinnati's going to win that division now that they got T. Higgins back and Jamar Chase. So Pittsburgh, by getting Aaron Rodgers, I think from the beginning, it would give them a chance to get a wild card, and that's why they'd be doing that deal. And then finally, I'm going on a cruise, as I said, leaving tomorrow to go to L.A. before we jump on the cruise. What are the do's and don'ts of a cruise? I've never been on a cruise in my life. I've been to London. I've been to Italy. I've been to Australia. I've been to Paris. But I've never been on a cruise. I've been on a booze cruise in Jamaica. When I went to hedonism, they had a little floaty pontoon booze cruise we went around Negril with, but that doesn't count. This is the Norwegian Bliss. And my wife's a big packer, and my wife's really sharp, but she likes to look at her luggage and look at it for like a day or two. I'm the opposite. I haven't packed yet. So it's shorts, it's Hawaiian shirts, it's tank tops, it's the cruise. And I'm packing a lot of Raider gear that I haven't had in a while. Like in the back of the closet, those flowery Raider shirts that I had back in the day, and said, when am I ever going to wear that? Well, I'm going to wear that on this trip, and I'm excited about that. So it's Tom Flores' birthday today. If you want to call in, 702-365-9200. Let me know maybe what is your greatest Tom Flores moment? Super Bowl 15 or 18, maybe a moment with him that you just think it defined him. Because I think his greatest moment was his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But how about him taking the phone call from Ronald Reagan in the locker room after winning the Super Bowl? How cool was that? So certain things and the players that developed underneath him. He's just a gentleman, and I think Raider Nation should salute him today and come on in because everyone's kind of been off this week. I can't really get, I got Chris in West Oakland drunk up in Tahoe. He calls, but everybody else has kind of just been sleepy this week. And I'll be sleepy next week. I don't know what they're putting. I think Q's going to pick up a portion of the show next week, and I'm going to be ready to go with that and get this thing rolling. So 702-365-9200. Is that Mike? Mike, start us off, man. Appreciate it on a Friday. What's happening?
Yo, JT, a couple of things. First on Flores, I think his greatest accomplishment was with Al Davis when he got that first head coaching job of the Raiders, and that eloquent speech and taking the chance on him and him being everything the Raiders is about and more. And then climaxing with that Super Bowl. The man was progressive. He was a leader of men on the football field. He let his coaches coach, but he made the tough decisions. He ran a tough sting in Oakland, the black hole in Vietnam. Just a great thing. And JT, these Hall of Fame, I do it like they're like umpires. They forget, they think it's about them, the voters. All the umpires think the game's about them and not the players. You're 100% right. He should have been inducted in his 60s and enjoyed it with wearing the jacket. But yeah, the speech that Marcus gave at his Hall of Fame was amazing. Just an amazing thing. And JT, we've talked about this. I've been on a few cruise ships, different type of cruises than you. But JT, you got to get some rest. You can't go day drinking right into going out, and pay the little extra money for the specialty restaurants. And if you're going to eat sushi, JT, eat it the first day because they're not getting shipments on day.
Whoa, wait a second, Mikey in Staten, Italy. That's what I'm looking for today. So I'm working. I got to work every day. It's not worry. It's just standing up with a microphone. But I like what you said. Sushi only the first day because it gets older and it's a 7-day cruise. I've never heard that. That makes a lot of sense.
Unless you see some fishing poles going on. They're not getting any new sushi coming in.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks for starting us off. He gives us a Tom Flores call, and I appreciate that. So you see a little help there. So he said that's probably the best bit of advice I'll ever get. Eat the fish early on the trip.
He's absolutely right because they're not bringing a shipment of shrimp or fish on in Mazatlan. Like
you don't think so? And then we go to Cabo. We're stopping in Cabo. You don't think they bring some?
Go to a restaurant in Cabo if you want that. Don't eat it on day 6.
That's going to be a big decision because I know Cabo well. When I get there, am I going to go to the Office, which is one of the great bars there, or little light excursions there? But I will get my rest, Mikey. I am looking forward to that. My wife and I are honored to be a part of this, and we're going to have a lot of fun. 702-365-9200. Big D. You're up next on the flagship. What's happening?
JT, good to talk to you. It's very rare that I call in, but on Tom Flores, I think I can speak him from a rare point of view. Grew up in Pleasant Hill. Back in the day when he was the head coach, he lived in Lafayette, and I went to high school with his sons, Mark and Scott, and twins, and we were the same graduating class. We played football together for 3 years, and Tom was a big supporter of our school. Our school didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of students. So he would provide us with equipment like tape, pads, cleats, helmets, whatever he could, bring in from the Raiders. And he really supported us. And when he could, he would attend a few games here and there when they were on the road that weekend. So I was really fortunate to know his sons and know Tom, and it's great that he's still around with us. So
that must have been great because I know his sons too, obviously, and Scott's with them all the time. He comes to these games. They're both gentlemen there. That must have been nice when you're playing in these games, and when Coach Flores was available, he would come down and watch and encourage you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great feeling there. And then when we had our season-ending awards deal, he would present to the football players, and I was fortunate to get an award. So that was another one of my very small high school highlights. So it was a great time, and I really appreciate him being around.
Thank you. That's what we needed today. We needed a couple people to open up the show, take the lid off, and wish Coach Flores a happy 88th birthday today. There's just so many great stories about him being the first Latino quarterback, being the first Latino head coach to ever win a Super Bowl. He won 2. I mean, tremendous achievements and a really good quarterback and good player, the original Raider quarterback. When you look at what his life was as a player, and then I put in the broadcasting as a big chip for him. He's a broadcaster for a long time. Also the GM and the coach of the Seattle Seahawks. And he'll always be one of the most accomplished Raiders of all time. Raiders got 3 Super Bowls. Tom Flores got 2 of the 3. And he was there a long time. And he followed up John Madden. That was not easy to do. Imagine following John Madden in Oakland. The pressure on Coach Flores to win after John Madden had the highest winning percentage of all time when he retired. That's pressure. And he jumped right in there and did an unbelievable job. So happy to hear about that. A couple of March Madness scores we'll give you here coming up on the other side. We're brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue. That's one of the things I wanted to say. They also own the Strat. So we were there to kick it off on Wednesday when we were at the Strat and had a good day there. But PTs, they got 70 taverns in this town, 70 plus. You can go there and watch March Madness. Don't worry about getting a seat. Sit right at the bar or get a booth there and watch the game there. If you're looking to go to a casino, we'll give you our list of March Madness events that are going on today. And I had a good time last night just bopping around town. There is nothing like this. I repeat, there is nothing like March Madness in Vegas. This is crazy. I don't know if we're going in the right direction with this because it's getting more expensive. It's getting more exclusive. But if you can get in and you have that juice and you're coming in with some money and you got a casino host or someone who can hook you up, there's no better place to do it because this city is rocking tonight. Weather's great. Got buddies on the golf course right now. They're watching the game on their phones. They got their bets in. They're going to play 18, and I'm going to hook up with them after the show. We're also brought to you by La Casa Cigars and Lounge. I'm heading over there later today to pick up my sticks. Magnum, they let you smoke cigars on a boat. You can't smoke on an airplane, but you can smoke on a cruise ship, which is good.
Well, yeah, they have cigar lounges.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to go out and sit on the deck with the wife and have a nice cigar.
Yeah, no, she doesn't like the cigar, so I'll be on the deck.
Outdoors.
Outdoors.
The thing is, you don't know because you haven't been on one. If you go towards the front, those things are going pretty fast. So any smoke is just going to blow right down. You're not going to have to worry about it.
My wife got the patches for us for seasickness. I said, I'm a man. I don't get seasick. She's like, oh, really? Watch out. So I guess we got this patch, and they told me only put the patch on if you get seasick. Don't put it on ahead of time.
Dramamine works too.
Yeah, I don't like to take pills like that at night and all that. But other people told me they've never slept better in their life on a cruise ship. That's like the best sleep. You agree with that?
We slept pretty well. Now, the first cruise I went on, we left out of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
And we caught the tail end of a hurricane.
Uh-oh.
And let's just say, they always say, oh, you don't feel it, right? On a cruise ship, you don't feel it. Well, it was moving. We felt it. And I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. My partner at the time, she was not.
She was not happy. Well, I'm going on the Raider cruise. Any advice? I would appreciate that. 702-365-9200. It's March Madness. The Dukies are underway. 14-4 over Mount St. Mary's. Duke has advanced in this game. I don't think we have to worry about that. Upset alerts are out there. Aaron Rodgers meeting with the Steelers today. Chris Matthews, the dean of the newsmen. He'll join us at the bottom of the hour on what's happening around Vegas. Johnny Katz, Tom Looney, and Vince Sapienza, all today on your Raiders flagship, 9:20 a.m. All right.
Yeah, I was bummed. I didn't even know Norm was sick, and then I said he was in hospice. And
yeah, he went pretty quick. He was only in hospice for like a day.
Come on with Paulie all the time. He was great. He was so good.
I went on with Mitch and Paulie this week.
Yeah, talk about Norm?
No, I went on just to talk about March Madness and stuff. Hammer the like button, please. Hammer the like button. Thank you. Yeah, it's a Good Friday show, man. It's kind of like, I don't call in sick. That's a rule in life, unless you're sick. And I'm not really don't want to be sick, but today would have been a nice day. I was out late last night. It would have been a nice day to call Q and say, hey, Q, why don't you carry the Westwood One feed of these games? I'll see you a week from Monday. But no, we are here because this isn't a real job. This is fun. There's real people out there that have real jobs. Let me give you some phone numbers here.
Yep.
You can just kind of a piece of paper on that pen. I'll just write them down here for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks. How you been, man? What's new with you?
Same old, same old.
So how's the press box been in the locker room?
You know what? It's not bad. They got a good team.
Yeah.
Like now they're fully healthy at the forward position. I think.
So who needs to come back? Who's got the biggest injury?
Well, they're only missing Theodore
Right.
right now, but I think getting Carlson back is huge.
Yeah.
It's real big for them.
Cool.
And that Russian kid they've got,
Yeah.
he's got 30 goals.
30 goals.
And he's like 20. This is his first full season in the league. He's got 30 goals.
How's Barbashev doing?
He scored last night. I think he hit 20 last night.
Okay.
He was on fire. Then he got hurt, and it took him a while to get back to it. But I like Barbashev. He's
Well, there's always a time, as you know, you cover the team as good as anybody, that they get to that point where they play some shenanigans and
Yep.
someone's hurt and they go get someone else. Is that going to happen this year?
no trade deadline's gone. I think they knew they were going to be healthy down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So, because Theodore's practicing, even though he's missed a month,
Uh-huh.
but I think they knew he was coming back. I mean, if he was going to be out, they would have had like $5.5 million to play with. The big problem they have is they don't have any assets.
Like minor leagues?
Yeah. So like this year, they're structuring these contracts to where they're going to be able to make a run at some pretty big time free agents a year or two down the road.
Cool.
Now, they're going to have to renew Eichel, and
That's going to cost a bunch.
That's basically his contract is starting July 1st. He's got a year left.
Okay.
So they will have to get him locked up, which they will. They're not going to let him walk. But we could be talking about the biggest contract in NHL history.
Really?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's going to depend when McDavid signs.
Right. Well, McDavid, of course, when his deal's up. Yep.
But Jack, he may end up getting like $13-14 million a year. Although they may be able to play there's no state tax here.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Like the guy who just went to Dallas, Rantanen, between Carolina, I think he was in North Carolina, and the taxes there. Had he signed? So in Colorado, had he signed the same contract in Colorado where he was first, he would have lost $1.5 million a year on his contract just because of taxes alone.
Wow.
Plus, Dallas is cheaper than Denver.
Yeah.
Right? Denver's super expensive.
There are some expensive spots. So who's winning the Bricklayer Challenge? Well, my son's keeping up to date on that. So let me go.
All right.
All right.
Coming up
And
soon.
then when we bring me back in and wait like a minute or two and call Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be ready.
Good dude. Chris Matthews.
Yeah.
Brought to you by the Casa Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Yes, we're back. Thanks to the Casa Verde Law Group. They do such a great job for us here. If you get into an accident, 702-222-9999. Duke 24-9 on Mount St. Mary's. Memphis and Colorado State tied at 48. That's been a good game so far to watch. And some of the games that we've seen already today. Iowa State blew out Lipscomb 82-55. Alabama was in a battle, the 2 seed against the 15, Robert Morris. They pulled away 90-81. And the best game of the day was Baylor over Mississippi State. Baylor, a 9 seed, Mississippi State, the 8, 75-72. So if you're betting these games, I'd like to know how you're betting them. Are you betting the totals? Or I think a lot of guys that I know sit in sports books and they bet totals because they don't know these teams. They don't watch these teams. They know nothing about them. So they just want to have fun and they bet the totals. And most of them don't want to bet the under. They want to go over and see some buckets and have some fun here. Vegas Golden Knights at the top of the hour with Vince Sapienza. He's also the host of our morning show. It's Tom Flores' birthday. If you're just getting in the car, just tuning in, he's 88 years old today. We're looking for Tom Flores phone calls and memories at 702-365-9200 on the impact that Tom Flores has had in your life. Doesn't have to be football. You had a gentleman who called earlier. He was his best buddies and played football with Tom Flores' sons and got to know him that way. I thought that was a cool story here. And maybe you met Tom Flores and would like to share that story, coming into the Coliseum or in an airport or some way there. I know that he pays attention a lot, and I like to check in. I sent him a text today, and I hope I get a chance to talk to him later today. Chris Matthews joins us, the Dean of the Newsmen from 8 News Now. Chris, how are you, my friend? How you doing?
I'm doing well, JT. How are you doing? Oh, man, great time of the year. Everybody's glued to their TV sets all day long here in the Pacific time zone.
Yes, and Chris, I was saying before you came on with Magnum here that I never saw Vegas like this before in regards to the exclusivity to get in these sports books. Back in the day when you got here and before that, you get a sports book, you get there early, you get a seat. Now they're charging $150 to get in. You got to get there early. There's private parties upstairs where you need wristbands. Have you covered that part of March Madness and how big it's getting?
No, you're right. It's getting so big. You're right. You used to be able to just get up early with your buddies, almost like you back in the day when you would just kind of sleep out for a concert.
Mm-hmm.
You would go really early in the morning and kind of hang out at these sports books that had the nice plush seats where you could sit there and enjoy it all day long. You'd go and come back. Your friend would save you the spot. You would enjoy the entire day. And now, yeah, you're right. If they can make money off things, they certainly will, and that's what they're doing. But it's such a great time of the year in Las Vegas, and so many people come here, make their bets, have a great time. In fact, more has actually bet on the final, or not the Final Four, the college weekend, this college weekend, than on the Super Bowl. It's just March Madness is bigger than the Super Bowl in terms of the sportsbook betting.
Yeah, April 1st and 3rd, 2028, we get the Final Four here in Vegas. If someone told you that, Chris, 20 years ago, what would you have said?
I know, that's crazy. Well, okay, let's look at this. In 2026, we get the Frozen Four.
Yes.
You have the Final Four in hockey here, and then you get the Final Four in basketball at Allegiant Stadium. I'll tell you what, JT, that Allegiant Stadium was the most important building the city has ever built.
I would agree. You know how great that's going to look for basketball, because some of the domes, as you know, the bigger ones, Minneapolis, and so I used to have it, in San Antonio, to have it in the Alamo Bowl. If you're sitting in the upper deck, you're a mile away. Allegiant Stadium, there isn't a bad seat in the house, and I can't imagine what that's going to look like when they put a basketball court down.
No, it's going to be so nice when you got 60,000 in there cheering, and really a stadium, JT, that is one of the premier stadiums, not only in the country but the entire world. It's just made for events like this. So many things come through there. I know this, wouldn't have time to talk about all the events that go rolling through that stadium, but the Final Four is going to be a nice cherry on top. That's going to be fun. And then you got the national championship football game that's coming that year as well.
It's amazing what's happening. Chris Matthews joins us from 8 News Now. So I'll just go rapid fire with you. There's so many topics we haven't talked in a while. I want to start off with Kevin Kruger being released as the head coach of UNLV. You've known Lon a long time. You've covered both their careers here. I wish Kevin would have had one more year to do it. I thought he was tremendous for this community, in and around the community, and it's unfortunate his time's up as the head basketball coach.
Yeah, and it is. And he's one of those guys who, if he would have had a little more success, it's all about wins and losses, obviously. But like you said, the first year, everybody left, so he really didn't have that year. You got to re-recruit everybody every single year. This is actually worse than the NBA, JT, college basketball, because what you have basically are 12 free agents. Every single player is a free agent that you have to re-recruit in college basketball. Can you imagine an NBA coach having to re-recruit his players every year and working out deals with them every single year? That's why they have general managers. And like you mentioned, Kevin, he was a rebel. He wanted to come here. He would have stayed here forever. You do have to win. He understands that. He knows that. But it's just unfortunate with the injuries he had. He had injuries. The transfer from Boise State didn't even get to play a game.
Yeah.
Because he signed here to come down and play, and he got hurt before the season started. Then you had a guy 2 games into the season got hurt. It's just unfortunate. And then, obviously later Deon Thomas gets hurt, and then your shooter goes down. Julian Rishwain goes down. He's hurt. Mm-hmm. Injuries are part of it, but it's just bad luck for Kevin because it's all about wins and losses.
Yeah, it is.
He knows that. So it's too bad, but it'll be interesting to see now which direction do they go. Do they go with the younger guy an up and coming guy, a guy that's had maybe some like a UC San Diego type coach, UC Irvine type coach, or someone like that, or do they go get an established guy like a Lon Kruger who was bouncing around and kind of out of it for a little while, then came back and coached UNLV. They went to Oklahoma, a guy like that. It's going to be really interesting to see what direction Eric Harper, the athletic director, goes.
Yeah, this is a big hire. And Chris, I was talking to a gentleman last night when I was out on the strip about he's a UNLV alumni. Excuse me. I just thought there was some bad press this past week on the money that UNLV has. I thought the timing was weird. You cover the news here at the highest level. That came out right before the Mountain West. And then after that, everyone's sitting around going, what do you mean there's not enough money to pay Mullen after 2 years? Or how much does the program have? Where there's smoke, there's fire. But I don't really see an issue here. But could this be an issue going forward with the money UNLV has for athletics to get the best coaches?
No, there's no school. I'm even going to say there's no school, and I would even venture to say in the Power Fours that have the money set aside in a single account for their football coach. I guarantee, take, for example, Steve Alford up in Reno, the basketball coach. There's not $8 million in an account set aside for him. There's not $5 million set aside for Mullen, the football coach here at UCLA, Mick Cronin. There's not $18 million set aside just for Mick Cronin. That's not how the people do business. Nobody has the bag sitting aside for that single coach. You just don't do business that way. So I thought that was kind of a hit piece because that happens across the country. That doesn't happen just at UNLV. You don't have money set aside in a big fund just specifically for that coach. It doesn't happen that way.
Chris Matthews.
There's no school that has that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I felt like it was a hit piece. Chris Matthews is our guest. All right, Geno Smith, we're waiting on the press conference. Obviously, the extension, they'll figure it out and let us know. But what do you think overall? Because you've covered Geno's entire career. A lot of it was on the bench as a backup or didn't even get into games as a backup. So there's a lot of years he didn't play. So there's not a lot of tread off the tire because he didn't play for 3 or 4 years. And he's made big plays. He won more games than Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford the last 3 years. That's pretty shocking to me. What do you think of the signing of Geno?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, JT. When you think of his early career, the Jets, I mean, there was the injuries here and there. He goes to the Giants, he goes to the Chargers as a backup, has the struggles here and there. But then the last 3 years he comes on and he was phenomenal. So you kind of wonder, which Geno will they get? The one from 2014 through 2018, let's say, or 2019, or are they going to get the guy from 22 to 24? So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all fits in, how he plays. Is he going to be that resurgent comeback player of the year like it was a few years ago? Is it going to be like last year where he set some records with the Seahawks? Or is he going to play like when he got drafted and early in his career with the Jets, the Giants, the Chargers, backing up teams out of football for a year? I'm kind of fascinated to see what kind of commitment, what drive he has when he puts on the silver and black, just to kind of see what we're going to get with this guy, because there really are two different guys here. The phenomenal comeback player with records broken with Pete Carroll at Seattle, or the guy who kind of flamed out, didn't do much early in his career with the Jets, Giants, Chargers.
And Chris, I think you nailed it there on the Pete Carroll connection. It could have been Russell Wilson. He's out of a job. He's interviewing whoever will take his appointment here. But I think Geno and Pete being comfortable together had everything to do with that. And it shows that Pete Carroll doesn't want to develop a quarterback right now. Whatever they do in the draft, they're going to do. But Geno gives the Raiders an opportunity to win now if he plays at a high level.
I love that. And the fact that, you hear a lot of talk about the draft coming up and who they're going to get. And could it be Genty, the guy from Boise State, the phenomenal running back? I kind of like I really, really like what the Spy Tech and Carroll are doing, prudently, spending the right way, doing the right thing, making big time decisions, but important decisions, not wasting decisions or money on different players. It's going to be a season to watch. I think the Raiders might surprise some people this year. Now, we say that. It seems like you hear that. We say that each and every year. Watch out for them this year. But really, with Carroll and the urgency, it's not hey, we're going to build for 3 years from now. No, we're building now to win now, and that's what we want to do. I really like that.
Chris, last one, Norm Clark passed away. He was an icon in this city. I know that you've known him. You've seen him around. Any comments on the passing of Norm?
Yeah, Norm was terrific. I got here in 96. I think he got here in 99 coming over from Denver. But I would see him at various sporting events. We know his background. He was a sports writer and had that connection. And he was an entertainment writer. But you'd see him at the big events.
Yes.
You and I would see him at the big boxing events, the big Rebel games, the big events that happened in Las Vegas, say from 99 to 2015, whatever. You would see Norm always. When I say always, I mean always. Such a professional, gentleman, kind, considerate. I really, my interaction wasn't a lot, but the times I did talk with him, I'm glad I did because he's a terrific guy.
Absolutely. Good way to wrap it up. Chris, enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you in a few weeks. Always appreciate your time on a Friday.
You bet. Thank you, JT.
You got it. Chris Matthews, the dean of the newsmen. The dean, the king. We have the newsman here. Vince Sapienza is a newsman, right? He's on the news. But there's one Chris Matthews from 8 News Now. We appreciate him coming on. Johnny Katz, Vince Sapienza, Tom Looney coming up here in a little bit. And if you know who Norm Clark is in Vegas, if you'd like to drop in a comment, a few callers did yesterday. It'd be nice. He was a good friend. He really was a good friend. Between me, an acquaintance, and a guy who became a friend, but I didn't know him as well as some people in town who really knew him well. So Norm, rest in peace here. We're celebrating Tom Flores' 88th birthday today. A lot of people are asking me, and I see Vinny Bonsignor, Vic Tafer. I'm going to be gone next week. Would I assume there's going to be a Gino press conference next week? Yeah, I would guess there'd be a Gino. They're going to introduce Gino at some point. He's going to have his own press conference, I can tell you that, after they dot the I's and cross the T's. The Raiders still have money left over in free agency after extending Max Crosby, but they have to announce what the number is going to be for Geno Smith. Most Raider fans that I talk to don't seem to care. I don't care. It's not my money. If you give Geno 40 or 48 or 44, it's not going to make a difference in my life. I want to see wins. I want to see wins. Quarterbacks get $40 million now walking in the door. 40 is the base. But Brock Purdy, there's sneaky reports, Purdy's asking for 60 million. Brock Purdy wants, get this, he wants Dak money. And I'm like, wait a second here. Brock Purdy, they just gutted the whole team. They just got rid of most of the 49ers. And the reports today coming out of the Bay Area, Mike Garafolo from the Insiders, quote, based on recent quarterback contract extensions in relationship to the salary cap, Brock Purdy has a strong case to make a full deal that comes close to Dak Prescott's $60 million a year. You've got to be kidding me. We live in a time, so it's 2025. In 2028, a car shouldn't cost $60,000. That now costs $30,000 just because the calendar flipped. In sports, we're paying people more money because the calendar flips. And the reason why this is happening at this rate in professional football is because the owners have to split the revenue with the players. Do we get this? If the owners kept all the money, all of it came to them and the players got good deals. Remember, players are going to be taken care of really well. Then the players they'd be in a tough spot. But no, because they collectively bargain the revenue with the owners, these players, you got to pay them. And you got to pay the quarterback. Brock Purdy was the last quarterback taken in a draft, Mr. Irrelevant. And if he goes from Mr. Irrelevant to the highest paid quarterback of all time, that is the greatest achievement in the history of the NFL financially. You cannot find anything that is even close to that, unless I'm missing some undrafted quarterback who was never drafted. But I know that undrafted quarterback did make $60 million because that's the market now. How would that affect Geno's contract? Dak Prescott got $60 million because he plays for America's team and Jerry Jones. Their revenue stream is number one. Their local revenue, their national revenue. So I can see the Cowboys doing that. Wow. The 49ers who play in Santa Clara, not San Francisco, going to pay Brock Purdy close to that. He might hold out. He might hold out if he doesn't get a deal done. I think Brock Purdy probably breaks 50. I think they'd want to get him under 50, like an average contract of like $47 million, depending on how far out it goes. But that's Mike Garafolo, and he's really connected. So we'll see. I'm going to see if I can get Mike on here maybe in 2 weeks and see if he'll come on to talk about these quarterback contracts. All right, when we come back, we'll have Tom Looney on, my podcast partner. We've been doing a podcast for years together. He'll give us an update on what's happening in Los Angeles. That's Raider country. It's Tom Flores' birthday. Why doesn't someone come in here and wish him happy birthday? How hard is that? Let's go. Happy birthday, Coach Flores. 88. 702-365-9200. We are brought to you by the Black Hole. I'm going on the cruise with the Black Hole next week. Become a lifetime member. All right. No major upsets today?
No.
I think the tournament's been kind of weak. There hasn't been like anything really crazy.
Yeah, no Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah,
or,
nothing crazy.
St. Peters. Well, Robert Morris gave Bama a game. That's not good because I had Bama going to the Final Four. Maybe that's their wake-up call.
Yeah, that would have to be their wake-up call.
Baylor Mississippi State game was pretty good. Drake beating Missouri. I don't think that was a massive upset. That conference always has good teams. Clemson lost. That was pretty
Yeah, I had that one. I had McNeese State winning 2 games. I got them in the Sweet 16.
That guy's a good coach.
Yeah. He already took a job.
Yeah, NC State.
NC State.
I watched the High Point Purdue game yesterday because I know that guy at High Point, his name's been rumored.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I watched them all season. They were a fun team to watch. Like they played up tempo and I didn't realize that the guy was an assistant at New Mexico before he went to High Point. Mm-hmm. So he's got some connections here. I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll do Vince at 105.
Okay.
He's still in the press box for all those games, right?
I think. Yeah. I saw him last night.
But he's got to turn around and get in here and do the morning show.
I know. I don't know how he does it.
That's the toughest. That's the tough.
Kids,
yeah, that's the toughest part about doing morning drive is that if you go to the game,
yeah,
there's a big secret. There's a lot of guys who do morning drive in major markets. They don't go to games.
Yeah,
for obvious reasons.
I rarely see Grady at the games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Francesa. Well, he wasn't even doing morning drive, but like Carton and Boomer, when those guys were doing mornings, they weren't going to games.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they go to a Yankee game for 2-3 innings.
Right.
And I don't know where those guys are. I pictured Carton living in Manhattan. Boomer probably out on the island.
Hey, a lot of people there who are Raider fans in the chat. Do you see John Gruden spent the day with Darren Waller yesterday? And they were giving each other hats and gear. It's pretty cool. I like Darren. I bumped into him in the park by my house like 2 weeks ago. Cannot believe that Darren Waller isn't playing football. I am shocked that he is not playing football. What a gifted athlete. How is Darren Waller not playing in this league? I mean, the addiction, he overcame his addiction, which is what matters more than anything. But I just can't believe he can't keep his focus on football. Looks healthy to me. He looks ripped, and what a shame. I don't know how much money he made. He made good money. He signed one good contract, but I don't know. He could still a lot more money, and he left the Giants. And the Giants, Magnum, the Giants went in big with Waller.
Yeah,
and he left the Giants, and the Giants were like, what are you talking about? We traded. You're our best player, and you're leaving in your prime. That really threw the Giants for a loop.
If you had Daniel Jones throwing to you.
Yeah, but
cutlets.
You got Malik Neighbors and Darren Waller.
Neighbors is going to be good.
Yeah.
They get him. They get a quarterback. He's going to be.
Well, that's why I think the Giants got to get. They're going to draft Shador. They have to for Neighbors. I don't see Shador dropping past 3 in the Giants.
Yeah, they got to go quarterback. I mean,
they have to. They have to. Oh. All right, what games do we have on? Anything? Oh, Colorado State, the 12 over Memphis, 64-54.
What game? Where's the remote?
That's Penny Hardaway. The remotes are
they
here.
Came here. I saw them when they played against UNLV.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, TBS? Or is that Channel 7? Oh, there we go.
Hey, guys, I'm going to keep this going to the top of the hour, and then I'm going to shut this down for a week. I'm not going to be doing any live streams on the Raider cruise. So hopefully everybody will get a little break from me, which I need a break from me. And we'll come back and do this in a week from Monday.
Brought to you by Comisario Tequila, the
right now?
official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
JT, back with you. Tequila Commissario, the Ferrari of tequilas. People come to my house and go, what's that? That bottle? That's Tequila Commissario, proud partner of our show. I got connected with them, with Gavin Maloof and his brand, and it's an exceptional brand. If you're trying a tequila, ask for Tequila Commissario, proud partner of our show. Tom Looney's going to join us here in a minute. My podcast partner here will get an update on what's happening with March Madness here at the top of the hour. There's an interesting game at 12-5, Colorado State on top of Memphis State by 10, which is a really big number right there if you're betting that game. That's a 5-12 game where the 12 seed is winning by 10, which is something to watch here. There hasn't been that many great upsets so far, but I think we're going to see that coming around the corner. My podcast partner, Tom Looney, JT and Looney, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm coming to LA tomorrow, getting on a cruise out of the port of LA. Hopefully we can get a coffee or a lunch down on Venice Beach or Manhattan Beach. Does that work?
There's nothing like it. Even though I live in a coastal city, as you know, even when I take vacations, I go to a place where there's a beach. And what is your rule about when you're somewhere where there's a beach? What is your rule?
I get in the water.
Yeah, I got to get in the water. Although tomorrow we'll be dining on the water.
We'll do that. You're an expert on Mexico, Puerto Vallarta. I've never been to Mazatlan. I've been to Cabo double-digit times. What should I look forward to in Puerto Vallarta and Mazatlan, where I've never been?
Oh, my goodness. Well, Mazatlan's amazing because it's an ancient culture where they speak so many different languages. You know, in Mexico, I think it's 183 different languages. We just think of Spanish, but they were there long before Spain got there. And so it's an amazing, that part is an amazing culturally. And then Puerto Vallarta is a party culture. You'll love Puerto Vallarta because it's a party culture, and there's a lot of day drinking going on in Puerto Vallarta, and it's a very sexual place, Puerto Vallarta is, and so it's a sexy place to go on vacation. So you'll be dabbling a lot of different areas of the
Yeah,
world.
I like to day drink. Other than you, you don't. You wait till the sun sets for whatever reason. I like a cerveza Modelo during the day. My wife, they're saying on the cruise instructions or notes, do you bring bottled water on? Because you're never afraid to drink the water anywhere. You're one of the only people I know. You'll go anywhere around the world. You'll open up the tap in the bathroom and drink the water.
Well, yeah, because they're aware of that reputation. LA's got a reputation for smog, although it was at its worst in the 50s. If you ask anybody in America, what city's the smog is, they'll assume it's LA. LA, I don't think it's in the top 10, but it used to be. That's one of the kids, reputation. And the reputation from our parents or grandparents' generation was the water in Mexico. But their number one money maker in Mexico is tourist dollars. They know that reputation quite well. So the water is fine, but because of that reputation, it's the street tacos that might get you, not the water.
Okay, the street tacos. Very good advice. Tom Looney, my podcast partner for well over a decade. 14 years we did a show together. Always love having him on. I feel like, I want to frame this correctly. I feel like the Dodgers are cheating. The Ohtani the Ohtani gambling thing, that went away. It's one of the biggest stories of all time. It disappeared. Now they get to kind of cheat and play games in Tokyo before anybody's allowed to play baseball, and they got a lot of players from that area who are there. Doesn't that feel like an advantage for the Dodgers to play in Japan?
Well, the advantage for the Dodgers is the way they're able to move money around and not pay players the way other teams seem to pay players. Not that I'm complaining, because I get to watch an all-star team. I like watching baseball now in April. And in May, because of the Dodger organization over the past decade or so, ever since the Guggenheims traded in their Van Goghs for a but it's a guy who's a Yankee fan they've been cheating since the 70s, buying great teams.
You're right.
They're not allowed to complain.
Yeah, when we buy players, they get hurt now for the year. Garrett Cole and other ones, our guys get hurt. LeBron and Luka, overhyped or underhyped? Because I'm sensing LeBron is just kind of taking some time to get healthy. He could play if it was the playoffs today, but LeBron and Luka, what's it been like covering the news the way you do in Los Angeles about bringing these two superstars together for a championship run?
Well, first of all, you can't overhype the Lakers. I can take Laker talk all day long as the number one Laker apologist in the United States of America. I apologize to the country for everyone constantly talking about the Lakers as a Laker apologist. But this reminds me of, remember when Kobe was complaining about wanting to be traded, so they brought in the best player in the NBA at the time, Pau Gasol. So somehow, speaking of the Dodgers cheating, I don't know how the Lakers get away with this. Oh, the Lakers are struggling, so somebody give them the best player in the NBA. And it happens all the time with the Lakers. LeBron comes, Pau comes, now it's Luka, who's amazing. And when LeBron can't play, Luka's scoring 30 and dishing out 10 assists, or double-double with cheese game after game after game. I'm loving it.
Yeah, the Lakers look unbelievable. Tom Looney's our guest. Finally, the biggest thing I wanted to ask you about, the Kennedy files were released. I feel like I'm an expert on the JFK assassination because I was born 2 years and a day after his assassination. I was born on November 23rd. He was assassinated on the 22nd. So for my birthday, it was Thanksgiving, so everybody forgot because they were eating turkey. Oh, yeah. And the only thing on TV was Kennedy assassination documentaries, and I read the Warren Commission. You and I went to the grassy knoll together. Would you like to share that story? Wasn't that great?
Oh, that was an incredible experience together, to be there, to go over with the fence where the other guys were, and Woody Harrelson's dad, wink, wink, and everything else. And if people don't know what I'm talking about with Woody Harrelson's dad, that's not a punchline, look up. What's fascinating to me about it as well is that part of our life that we have in common. When I was a little boy and just believed everything, then my friend Dave's father took us to an Elmira College seminar on the JFK assassination. I'm 10 years old, and they're talking about the guy lifting the umbrella and the shots going off, the entire conspiracy. So you and I have been fascinated by that since we were 2 feet tall. And it was great being at the grassy knoll with you in the book depository and those places that we had always seen in the documentaries as we were there to watch Margarito and Pacquiao fight in
Yes. I've always believed in the theory that the shooter behind the fence, we went right up to the fence, the badge man. I believe that he shot the fatal headshot from front. But now there is some crazy video surfacing that the driver in the limo to the right pulled out a gun and turned around. So they're showing that, and I thought that was going to be something wild here. But, man, they were beating the drum. They were beating the drum about this Kennedy files. We're going to release it when we – and I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It seems like it's more conspiracy theorists talking about more conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah, and I think a lot of the times some of the stuff supposedly blacked out are people's names who don't.
Ooh, I think we lost him. We lost him. Well, we got to say goodbye anyway, so we're good, Magnum. We lost him there at the end. He's in L.A. on his cell phone. Ooh, lower that a bit. Okay. Thanks to Looney. We were just getting into the JFK assassination, but his phone dropped out. Hour number 1 is down. Hour number 2, Vince Sapienza and Johnny Katz. That's a great hour. We are brought to you by our great friends at Grimaldi's Pizzeria. 4 locations in the Valley. It's the best pizza I've ever had. All right,
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you had a hard out.
No, I didn't. It is a hard out, kind of, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes Bobby goes over it.
Oh, okay. Then we should be all right. We'll be back at 101.
PT's
Yep.
Taverns is the place to catch all of the VGK action. With over 60 locations, there's one near you. Go to ptstaverns.com today.
All right, everybody, I'm going to say goodbye for a week. So it's Friday. I'll be back a week from Monday. That's a good 8 or 9 days. Appreciate everybody. Look what we built here with the bricklayers. Look at what we built here, right? We built a nice place to come together every day. I count on this channel for a lot of great creative comments and all that. So thank you very much. I'll be on X on the cruise at JT the Brick, probably a couple backyard brick videos. Other than that, I'm going to shut it down and spend a week on the high seas with the Raider Nation. Be well, everyone.